Bonjour, viewers, and welcome to Kappa Phi News. In honor of Bastille Day, we are commemorating the French Revolution in honor of the French population, the common people who fought for their rights and liberties. I'm Saira Iqbal, your host, and joining me today are Tom Aviram and Rachael Murray, our co-hosts, along with the cast and crew of this reenactment.
The French Revolution did not only take place in France, as Austria and Prussia, the Holy Roman Empire, and England were also involved. The main locations that skirmishes occurred in France, however, were Paris and Versailles. The revolution occurred in 5 major parts: the Assembly, Radical, Directory, Consulate, and Empire phases.
Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were absolute monarchs. The population was split up into 3 estates: the clergy, nobles, and the peasants. Many ideas of the French Revolution were inquired from Enlightenment thinkers such as Locke, Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Rousseau.
The main grievances was the Third Estate was being taxed while the clergy and the nobility were depending on the Third Estate to pay for everything. As well, the king and Marie Antoinette were hated by the French nation. The estates meet at the Estates General. The Third Estate called for reform, but the other estates resisted and forced the Third Estate to form the National Assembly. On June 20th, 1789, they pledged the Tennis Court Oath, which swore to create a declaration to secure rights for men. This would become the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen. After the storming of Bastille and the Women's March to Versailles, the National Assembly weakened the power of the monarchy and was the closest it has ever been to a republic.
This is the Radical era, and here is an interview between Robespierre and our interviewer, Tom.
Here we are with the ghost of Robespierre. What caused the radical phase to begin?
Well, life stopped when the king, queen, and emigres fled France. People were outraged.
What happened to the king and queen?
Obviously, they were executed for their misbehavior.
Who took over for the king and queen of France?
This was when the Reign of Terror began. I, along with my fellow Jacobians and the Committee of Public Safety, took over for the greater good of France.
How did you die?
Well, little did I know that my people would turn against me and kill 400,000 commoners via guillotine. I was murdered, and that was when the Thermidorian reaction began.
Thanks for joining us today.
Of course.
The Directory is made up of 5 conservative men who made the legislative decisions. They tried to find the middle ground between the Republic and the conservative ways. This new Directory included the Council of 500 and the Council of Elders. Next in the Consulate era is an interview between interviewer Tom and the commoner.
Here we have a commoner. When and how did Napoleon take over?
In 1799, Napoleon Bonaparte staged a coup d'etat and was able to seize power.
What did Napoleon do during his early stages of being emperor?
In his time of being emperor, he created a contract with the Catholic Church, which equally graded his popularity between the Protestants and the Catholics.
What do you think of Napoleon?
I think Napoleon will be a great ruler, but he is kind of self-centered because he did crown himself emperor, but he also did the Napoleonic Code, which did allow people to become equal.
Okay, thank you for joining us today. Let's give her a hand.
Woo! I was trying to increase France's territory by going to war. These wars were called the Napoleonic Wars. The war to start it was the Battle of Austerlitz against Alexander I. There'd be many more battles and treaties to follow. In the beginning, I was undefeated. I even banned British goods with the continental system. My invasion of Russia was a devastation due to the harsh Russian winter and the lack of supplies. At the Battle of Borodino, Russian defeated us, causing us to take the Great Retreat. This loss caused the War of Liberation all over Europe, kicking me out of France.
The French Revolution spread Enlightenment and revolutionary ideas through Europe. Napoleon attempted to create a French empire and conquer much of Europe in a short period of time. Although his dreams failed, his legacy was to spread Enlightenment. When Napoleon seized power, he reinstated slavery in Haiti so that he could make money for his wars across Europe. This led to some of the only successful slave revolts, social reforms to organize border or programs of liberation, independent movements in South America, and the Haitian Revolution. Although all Europeans and Americans abolished slavery, former slaves and descendants still had no privileges and were part of the oppressed class in most of the Atlantic world. Women's rights also proceeded slowly. Napoleon was kicked out of France to the Mediterranean island of Elba. They forced Napoleon to relinquish his throne in April 1814 and restored the French monarchy. He tried to return to France by invading in March 20th, 1815, in the Battle of Waterloo, but he lost to the British and Prussian army. They didn't want to take any chances, so they banished Napoleon to the isolated island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic Ocean, where he died in 1821.
Thank you for watching, and join us next time on Kappa Phi News. And now for the joke of the day.
4 slices of cake for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco. And none for the people of France. Bye.
She never said that!